Great. My name is Elaine Gare, and Mr. President and trustees, it's an honor to be with you today. You know, I had planned to run a full-bore campaign for this two-year term, but I know we're in the appointment process, and I also planned to run a 2016 campaign, and I still plan to do that, but I'm honored to be a part of the appointment candidacy process. As a third-generation Southern Californian, and a 10-year, just shy of 10-year resident of the Wrigley District, I've really grown to love the greater Long Beach area and all that it has to offer. And I currently work at Los Angeles Air Force Base near LAX and for Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab under the School of Engineering as a systems engineer in the aerospace sector and a program manager. And I'm very lucky to have a good job with outstanding benefits, and including healthcare, which I plan to hang on to as my sole healthcare if I'm appointed going forward. I have a long history of community volunteerism in the area, and I outlined some of that in my application, but I have a burning passion to increase my service, and for about a decade, I had an after-job job. After my full-time job, I was a reserve captain in the Army Reserves. And after I was honorably discharged, all my evenings and weekends were soaked up with getting an MBA after work hours. Now that that is fortunately behind me a couple of years ago, I find myself with the capacity, the will, and the time to increase my service capacity, and I would like to do so as a trustee. As I reflect back on all the meetings, the regular meetings and the ad hoc meetings that I've been to in the last months, and I've met with, well, just about everybody, including several members of the trustee board before the ban, and of course the president and some of his staff members, some of the part-time and full-time faculty. Thank you for taking time with me, as well as the classified staff leadership and some of its members, as well as the veterans groups, Jessica Quintero, Centra Cha, and a host of other people. And I have learned so much. I have been studying every night and doing all of my due diligence. My brother told me, he said, "I think you know just about all there is to know about LBCC." And I said, "Oh, how wrong you are. For every time I learn and learn and learn, I realize there's about that much more to learn." So I had a lot of respect for you guys before I started this process, but now that I know a little bit more, I have a lot more respect for how much it entails and how much there is to know. And I think that if I am a trustee, I will be a permanent student of trusteeship for many years to come. I also, reflecting back on my participation, I recognize that we can't all agree on all matters all the time, and we won't always see eye to eye, and I don't even think we should. And I recognize that there's a real place and a time for deep thinking, for discussion, deliberations, and questions. And I think that's a healthy part of the process. I also recognize that in the end, we have to come together with consensus in a collegial manner to uplift and move forward the district and support the mission as a part of the community college system. At the very beginning of my career, when I was a young 20-something-year-old, our commanding general from ROTC, we graduated from ROTC as a lieutenant after our baccalaureate graduation, he spoke on leadership. And he was a 2-star general, and I was deeply impressed, and still am, with this gentleman. He said that leadership means doing your homework, seeing the big picture, but understanding the details, making tough decisions when called upon, and listening more than speaking. He said a leader is someone who, by their daily conduct, is a powerful yet quiet example to others. Someone who inspires, who builds consensus, and who is a true team player. The last thing he said to us was, he reminded us of the oft-quoted truth that there is no I in team. And that's something that would stick with me for my entire career, even up until now. I respectfully request that you appoint me as the Area 2 trustee, and I promise that I would do everything in my power to discharge the duties and the responsibilities with vigor and with sincerity. And I want to leave you just in closing with a thank you for all the extra time it has taken to be involved with this process. And that's my alarm. And I thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Zia, or start again to the right. Trustee Baxter, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Elaine. What do you see as the most important issues to be addressed district-wide in the Long Beach Community College District, and how would you approach these issues with your fellow board members?
Thank you, Trustee Baxter. Not to start off with a bang, but faculty and classified staff morale is low. I know this is a complex issue, and but it's one that affects student success as well. For a specific example, it is difficult to have office hours to serve students' needs for part-time faculty in the current model. And it's difficult for the part-time faculty member, but it is also difficult for the student that needs that extra time with his or her professor. Also, reassessing how the voice of the faculty and classified staff is both included and heard is something that I would love to explore with fellow board members. On another topic, sufficient compensation in my industry, and I think here as well, is one way to increase the likelihood of attracting and retaining the absolute best teaching staff that the district can garner. Secondly, ensuring that the needs of all students are met and that curricula and courses optimize student success, particularly in light of the shift in demographics and the increased number of immigrant students and their needs. For these students represent really our future. They represent our future business leaders, our employees and our employers, our future professors, and our future leaders. And I think that part of our family needs to be supported and to be tuned into. Lastly, and something I feel very strongly about, is to ensure that the district stays ahead of workforce trends. And I know this is an area where a lot of successful work has been done, and I think it's a very important one. Continuing to work with private, government, and the sizable nonprofit sector here in the greater Long Beach area to forecast needs and skill sets, as well as all the metrics associated with current and forecasted job quantities. A great example of this is the kinesiology department putting together a certificate program to supply massage therapists to the much-needed marketplace in the medical community, as well as integrating current market-driven cybersecurity and biomedical programs, and also having integrated 3D printing into our CAD courses. The updating of technology and skills necessary to keep pace with workforce trends is imperative for our graduates to be ready to fulfill those jobs and to be successful. As for how I would approach these issues with my fellow board members, I would listen, and I would ask questions in meetings, and I would interface with all stakeholders, and speak occasionally one-on-one with fellow trustees, and I would confer with the CEO and the board president with the optimal timing of new ideas and suggestions that I might have, and how and when to include them in future agendas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Otto?
Elaine, welcome.
Thank you.
How does an effective board of trustees ensure opportunities for faculty, students, classified staff, community members, and other stakeholders to get their views to the board on important policy issues without seeming to be advocating for a one position one way or the other?
Thank you, Trustee Otto. For me, it all starts with the self-education of the trustee. And education on procedures and, of course, current policy, but also the current issues impacting stakeholders. And as I like to call it, and have called it in almost all of my meetings with many community members, learning about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we have to look at all three. And to understand the context and the limitations of the Board of Trustees, and then listening. And I mean truly listening to all affected stakeholders, to students, to faculty, classified staff, the community organizations, and community members. By attending events and meetings and having conversations where the trustees are mostly listening. one gains the perspective and can interface with people and also guide the community to events where they can make their voices heard and encourage folks to speak at meetings and include their interests there. And also to guide people to where to get data. I met with Dr. Eva Bagg, and she kindly had a billion questions for her, and she guided me to every piece of data that I wanted, official data from the district, and it was very helpful. And I think that we have appropriately a space for the president of the Academic Senate. And I would love to explore how we interface with the Student Senate, and if we solicit community impact statements on key issues as well. And those are all the ways I think the stakeholders can potentially get their views to the board.
Trustee Zia.
Hi, Elaine, welcome. Identify a recent Board of Trustee decision that you feel strongly about. Describe how you would balance student needs, community, and other stakeholders' concerns, and your personal beliefs and values to determine how to vote on the issue.
Thank you, Trustee Zia. An issue I feel strongly about is our graduates being prepared for and having the right skill set for local jobs, staying in tune with, as I mentioned before, earlier, workforce trends and changes, ever-changing trends. Faced with the financial crisis of the Great Recession that we just came through, I would have endeavored not only to understand where we had to cut, but might have reviewed language about future new vocational programs as we evaluated the discontinuance, so that everyone understood the district's commitment to vocational programs and certificate programs, such as the forward-looking work that has been done to re-wicker the sheet metal fabrication and welding programs, and also creating an alternative fuels and electric vehicle program under the transportation courses. We have and we must discontinue programs that are not serving our students and our community and that no longer represent skill sets that have jobs waiting for them, but to replace them with ones that do have jobs waiting for them, that are updated and that are current. In addition to fiscal considerations, an analysis of the bigger picture, as well as what close-by community colleges have in terms of vocational programs offering, would have been of interest to me as I prepared to make a vote, to understand the bigger picture and ensure that we are not replicating vocational programs at a nearby college, but that nothing falls through the cracks as well, and a student doesn't have to go 3 hours to get to a particular type of vocational program. Those are all of the things that would have influenced how I voted in that critical matter. Thank you.
Student trustee.
Good afternoon, Elaine. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
What two experience have you had in your professional or voluntary life that you believe would assist this governance team in its deliberations?
Thank you, Student Trustee Root. The two really lifelong experiences that I've had in my adult life that I believe will help this board with its governance and its deliberations are firstly my leadership training and experience through the military. That has made a deep impact on not only my professional life, but my personal life, my integrity, and my commitment. I learned in that experience to digest my unit's goals and understand the big picture, to lead, to follow, to confer with others, and to make decisions that benefited many both above and below me, sometimes making difficult decisions, while always keeping the service member in focus. Being a leader is much different than being a manager. I know. I have been both. And trustees, I know, do not manage. There was never a time where leadership decisions were made in my past in a vacuum. We were always a body of decision makers. And I truly did learn what I heard when I was 22, that there really isn't any I in team. Secondly, my corporate past includes being a corporate strategist and also a program manager. And I've learned to look at that big picture, look at resources, and analyze budgets. Working on government contracts, you really get used to looking at budgets. And looking at decision-making that went far beyond the day-to-day, but took that big picture and all of its constituent parts into consideration. analyzing midterm and long-term positions in markets and understanding resource limitations and being tuned in to the corporate climate and the culture, as well as having a feel for the pulse of the people, came into focus for me. Those are all the skills that I think I would bring to the Board of Trustees that could help in its deliberations.
Thank you. And the final question, is there anything you'd like to add before we conclude? I will tell you that you have plenty of time. You're at the 10-minute mark.
Thank you, Board
Anything you'd like to
President
add?
Kellogg. I appreciate that. In all cases in my career and my volunteer work, as a leader, as a strategist, as a program manager, I learned to draw on multiple perspectives and to recognize the complexities and the subtleties and the limitations our organizations faced. I also continuously watched, listened, and learned, becoming steeped in the culture, the values of the organization, which then in turn partially helped me shape my posture and practice as a leader. All the while, I kept the mission and the people in sharp focus while bringing fresh ideas to the table. All of us still relied on conventional and collegial methodologies for reaching consensus. Also, people that know me well repetitively say about me that I am thoughtful, honest, and have a capacity and a zest for learning, that I am respectful yet innovative, that I am competent but not arrogant. And lastly, that I am a team player who cares deeply about the mission and the people and the issues at hand. And I always realized that I didn't have all the answers. I can give you my wholehearted commitment that my devotion to learning, listening, understanding, asking questions, and attendance I have demonstrated in these last months will be carried on if I am appointed as the Area 2 trustee. I will be a steward to the resources to all students and all stakeholders for our district. And lastly, I want to thank you all for your trustee service is really a labor of love. And I'm deeply impressed with all of you, and I'm honored to be here with my fellow candidates, and I thank you so much for your
Thank you. If you could identify yourself for the record. Also, as I've repeated many times, I will give you, during your 5 minutes, I'll give you a 1 minute, where you have 1 minute remaining. I'll also tell you during the 15-minute question period, I'll let you know 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then when you have 1 minute left.
My name is Clausel Stallworth, and good evening to everyone here.
Proceed. And welcome.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for allowing me this opportunity, and I'm prepared to answer the questions, the 5 questions that you have. I don't know if there's anything else that
You have 5 minutes if you want to have anything.
Oh, 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry, you have
Okay,
5 minutes.
Excuse me, okay.
For
Well, I
your
was gonna-
self-introduction, and then we'll
Okay,
follow with the questions.
Well, as I said, thank you for the opportunity. I'm just amazed at the college and all that's taking place here, and I can see all the work and the efforts of the board going forth. I consider it a great opportunity to be given an opportunity for the open seat. I know that I can feel the width of that seat and the length of it. I feel that I will fit perfectly in that seat. But more or less, I think that I can be the cog that is missing in this board. I am familiar with boards. Being assigned board duty from the law enforcement side for the last probably 15 years, on and off, maybe missing 1 meeting, 2 meetings a year. And unfortunately, the district that I come from is the board itself is there, but they don't have any power to operate as a board. So, and the board members are probably more familiar with the district. I won't say the name or anything, but basically, I feel that I can help to never even get in that position. It's just a terrible position to be in as a board. And so saying that, I would like to go ahead and answer my questions. I know that you all have a long night beyond us being here.
Thank you. That's all right. We know it's an important decision. Trustee Baxter.
Good evening, Glazell. Can I say I like your Viking tie?
Oh, thank you. Amen.
I might get in trouble for that. What do you see as the most important issues to be addressed district-wide in the Long Beach Community College District? And how would you approach those issues with your fellow board members?
Okay. Okay, what I have is a little different, but I'll try to answer that, what I was emailed, rather. I actually list 3 responses to that particular question,
Okay.
and I will breeze through them as fast as I can. My first issue is increasing the first-time student enrollment beyond the 10% mark. We have a lot of high schools in the Long Beach school district, and I feel that, not saying that there's not any type of program that's already set up or established, but we need to be courting these young freshmen, high school freshmen, all the way up through high school, developing a program to get them into the Long Beach Community College system. And so that would be the first issue that, or first thing that I would set my sights on, outside of whatever the board already has going, that I would have to jump in and go to work on. And within that, following that, I would go after that 2% first-time transfer student rate, as well as the 12% returning student. I then would try to set up something with the faculty and the staff, facilitating workshops. I know there are workshops probably already in place, but additional workshops, and try to come up with a system. From working public service, it's hard for public service workers, even board members yourself, working public service. I would try to establish some type of system to recognize faculty that have gone over and beyond, I would say, what's required by the district, whether it's policy or district requirements. Basically, I would try to develop something on that end. Then I would work with the college to create an incentive for enrollment. I know that the college has started a program, but we would try to work with students that are taking full loads, as well as students that are coming into the college, and also work within the increase the support for transfer students as well. Give them a little bit more support, and I know you have College Day, but just more or less before they take place, try to set up some type of rally or something to rally the students into that mindset to get prepared for it.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, how does an effective board of trustees ensure opportunities for faculty, students, classified staff, community members, and other stakeholders to get their views to the board on important policy issues without seeming to advocate for one position or another?
Well, as a board member, Mr. Otto, I know that you have to remain neutral and non-biased when you take your stand on a particular issue. I know that the first thing is communicating with all the mentioned parties above, informing them of the board process and the steps necessary to successfully initiate or implement and understand the collective bargaining process, as well as what an effective board does. I would encourage anyone that would have a concern to come to a board meeting, to, if nothing else, just to gain knowledge of what takes place in a board meeting, to try and obtain some of the policies of the board, and also to sign up and voice your concern over any particular issue. But at the same token, as I said in the beginning, that you have to remain, as a board member, you have to be neutral and non-biased, and you can't form an opinion or take a side.
Thank you.
Trustee Zia, and by the way, you're at the 5-minute mark.
Hi, welcome, Clazel. Identify a recent Board of Trustee decision that you feel strongly about. Describe how you would balance student needs, community, and other stakeholders' concerns, and your personal beliefs and values to determine how to vote on the issue.
As a community leader, I agree, first of all, with the board's current decision to expand and build and develop Long Beach City College. If it was legal, I would take more than my hat off. You know, I would maybe parade around in my underclothes and give you a hand. I mean, you've done a great job. Within that, all the phases of construction that has been initiated on both campuses and projects, my concern is that all students' needs are met during this period. In regards to safety, transportation, classroom accessibility, as well as proper signage, parking, also notifying the community within the phases of all these projects, keeping them informed as to what's going on. I would like to add my personal beliefs and feelings should not play a part in the decision-making process. But I can assure you that my vote will be based on stats, facts, district and administrative policies. I can't put my personal feelings into it.
Thank you. Student Trustee Root.
Good afternoon, Clazel.
Good afternoon.
What two experiences have you had in your professional or voluntary life that you believe would assist this governance team in its deliberations?
My first experience being a sworn law enforcement official the last 16 years, I have learned and gained knowledge, skills to effectively communicate with all people in all walks of life. I have a strong understanding of policies and procedures, as well as guidelines, rules, and regulations thereof. I have, throughout my career, displayed sound judgment, moral, and ethical behavior while maintaining this position. I've always remained positive and constructive, and I've always maintained a good rapport with the community that I serve. The second experience, I have been a member as well as the clergy since 1986. In my 28 years as a pastor or minister, I have learned to listen without prejudice or rendering judgment. In this endeavor, I have grown and reached a level of understanding how to effectively communicate with people, all types of people. In most cases, from just listening, they've allowed me to mentor them, offer multiple alternative resolutions to resolve or eliminate serious or non-serious issues. So I'm a people person, and one thing, I'm not afraid to communicate with people. I'm not afraid to hit the pavement. I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. I'm not afraid. So, and I think that's a key element in being a board member.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add before we conclude the interview?
I'm running out of time.
No, you're
President?
fine. You're
I'm fine? All right. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, allowing me to stand before you regarding this open seat for District 2 trustee. I believe in experience as being the best teacher education is the greatest thing available to society and to the young people. But experience, and you as a board, I just want to commend you. I'm not asking for any special consideration, but I've seen boards operate the wrong way. And you being a board, I want to commend you on your hard work. People come in and they oftentimes are unhappy, have a lot of complaints and so forth. And you have to sit and listen to those complaints and try to resolve the issue and try to reach common ground. It's okay to disagree with people, but you got to learn how to move beyond that disagreement. I feel that I'm able to meet all the original requirements from A to G that was originally given out to us. I don't want to sound overzealous, but I know that I'm the best person for this position. I mean, I'm the best person. I may not have the highest level degree, but I'm the best person for that position. And I'm willing to work with the board day and night, from the PMs to the AMs, because people don't understand that the board works sometimes until the AMs, and to get things done and to keep this college, this institution on the map as one of the top learning institutions in the state of California and the United States. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And so the board members, you all know that after we conclude the first grouping, we will take a short break so we can step up and stretch our legs a little bit.
And then public comments, will we allow for public comments for
Public
the
comments will
members?
come after all of the interviews and before we vote. Yes, Vivian? Your name for the record. Again, my apologies. You have 5 minutes.